Hey folks, it's old Texas Red. Didn't do any posting this morning or late afternoon. Kind of had a little setback. We got a weather change coming in, and all the metal in me and all the broke bones and messed up back. They call me the human barometer up here because I can feel the weather change coming a week before it gets here. And next week we're supposed to get a change and start getting cold out in Arizona finally. I mean, we've been up in the 60s, 50s, and 60s and everything here, and it's almost leading in a couple of weeks from Christmas. Uh, Especially up here. I live at 5,000 foot above sea level on the side of a mountain, so it's been unusually warm. We had a little cold spell about 3 months ago, and it started dipping down, but we warmed back up, and thank God we stayed that way for a while. Anyway, I had a rough go this morning. I was kind of crippled around. I was in a foul mood and everything, and I was going to set up and force myself to stay up because I've been getting up in the chair and staying there 12, 14, 16 hours, 18 hours a day ever since I got out of the recovery center. And this time I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go take me a little bit of a nap. I didn't go nap, but I went in and I laid down and I put my headphones on and I pulled up a deal on YouTube of the indomitable Johnny Winters. And they covered his entire career, and good documentary. I really enjoyed it. But some of the best blues guitarists and some of the best rock and roll guitarists come out of Texas, as you know. I mean, we've got many of them. Buddy Holly. Uh, oh boy, the list goes. ZZ Top, Billy F. Gibbons, Johnny and Edgar Winters, both out of Beaumont. Uh, Stevie Ray Vaughan out of Lubbock. Again, that's Lubbock produced a lot of people. Beaumont, the Houston area. I mean, to tell you, there was some guitar playing some bitches back in the day. I never had the time. I was always working too much. I got thrown into being an adult and taking on the family responsibility. I was a mediocre to semi-good guitarist, but I never, until 1 year when I went off of all the psych drugs and everything about 10 years ago, I took a phase where I called it my idiot savant stage. I could listen to something and I could play it, everything just laid out. Uh, I knew every instrument I picked up. I picked up several instruments, mandolin, five-string banjo, ukulele, that I'd never even had in my hands. And within 5 minutes, I was playing them like I'd been playing them all my life. Unfortunately, it only lasted about a year and a half, and the magic went away. But I've been to the crossroads. I just hope music will be a part of my life. I may have to, with the crippledness in my old hands after this injury, I may have to just settle for playing slide guitar or the bass guitar. But I've had several basses for the last 30 years, but I've never been able to devote enough time to them. But I had an old man, one of my cousins, his name, or uncles, uh, I'm named after him, my middle name. His name was Lloyd Swindell. And he was the man that Merle Haggard wrote the song, I Turned 21 in Prison Doing Life Without Parole. And he was Merle Haggard's lead guitar player. I've had two of Merle's lead guitar players live on my ranch. The other one was a man called Alfred L. Sweet that played, and right before he died, he wrote a song inspired by me and my wife that Merle bought right before he died, but was never produced. So anyway, I've got a rich history from the area in Texas. I come from North Texas, where there's also a lot of good musicians and stuff come off of them farms and ranches from right after the war, big war, World War II, the war to end all wars, uh, and everything all the way up into the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Uh, there was a lot of people born that had a lot to say and had a hell of a lot of talent. Anyway, I'm hoping I can get back to it. I've got a collection of guitars. I must have 15 or 20 of them. I've got 6 or 8 basses and probably 10 or 12 varied 6-string guitars, Fenders, Gibsons, I've got old amplifiers. I've got an old Fender Jazzmaster that we're going to put back together. But there for a long time, I was playing through a Marantz 1712 vintage 1970s Marantz receiver amplifier. I had it rigged up, had a preamp in a couple of my guitars and bass that I could run through after I blew a tube in the preamp. But I've still got the old Marantz tuner and everything. I blew a set of speakers out, realistic thrusters. I haven't been able to find replacements for it yet, but we're going to be looking in case I can pick them up. And then if I don't have to, I'm not going to get rid of my old shit because there's nothing that sounds like tube type. Now, I've got a Behringer amplifier that's got about 15 or 30 different built-in electronic effects that I can switch up with a pedal. My favorite guitar is a 1970s reissue Starcaster, which was the first reissue of the pre-CBS Fender Stratocaster. So I got one of the good ones. And it's a Japanese guitar, or I don't know, it was one of them. I'm not sure, but it was one of the Asian countries that produced it. But it was done right under Leo's tutelage and discerning eye. It's back before he died, and he wouldn't let junk slip through. So I've got one of the good ones that was produced outside of the United States. I can't afford the real thing. They're worth more than my house is. But anyway, I've got the next best thing. And hopefully one of these days, if my hands will allow me and I can cheat enough on slide guitar or bar chords, power chords, and whatever, you guys will get to hear a little bit out of me. Now, I never could write worth of shit, but I'm going to give it a try again because I've got a lot to say. So hopefully we'll get back into the swing of things. I'm in a lot better mood after my nap, and my outlook is going good. So I think the old man is going to have to rest a little bit and quit pushing so hard. Now, as far as the Kawasaki side-by-side that I did the mining and stuff in with about a year ago, I featured it a couple of times. It shows up in a couple of the deals, but we'll get some more on that because it's going to become a big companion. I just made arrangements to buy it outright and everything. It's, I think, a 2012 Kawasaki 750 T-Rex, 4-wheel drive side-by-side. It's all I need. I think I can get around in it up here and everything and have a lot of fun with it. I can carry my shit. It'd be easy to load up. It's a 4-seater and everything, and I'm going to convert the back seats. I'm going to pull them out and put a slip-in tray where I've got a little pickup bed and everything where I can do my thing. Hell, who knows? I may meet me an old girlfriend and stuff after a long time. Them guitars and fancy cars have always kind of had the little girls interested. That's kind of how I drew the love of my life. Is I always had big Cadillacs and fancy shit and everything until I got with her. Was the poorest time in my life, but it was the happiest. 18 years of sheer bliss. I can remember 2 arguments. We made up our mind that we would agree to disagree, but we would never take our anger into our bedroom. That was a place for loving. So we would agree to disagree, pick up the discussion in the morning over things, because she was a 100% partner. The day I got the ring on her finger, she was signed on to be the survivor and co-owner of every worldly thing I owned. And it surprised her. But I fell in love with her at first sight, and we spent 18 wonderful years together. Anyway, this is Texas Red. We'll get into some more of my backstory and everything as I progress along and I get a little bit better. Like I say, have patience, folks. I plan on getting some content back on there with some of the old junk. Now, the old T-Rex, we can't find the key for it. That's the only reason that I ain't posting videos yet. But hopefully by next week, the guy I'm buying it from will have the key found. I've got to air the tires up and do a little bit of maintenance because it's been setting fallow for about 7 or 8 months without even being started. But I had done a lot of maintenance on it the year I drove it, and we had it up good and dependable. So we'll get her back that way again, and you guys will get to see a lot of that. And then I've got the original Kawasaki Mule 500, a 92 model that started the entire craze, and I own one of them that I call Pokey, and it is in 100% factory stock configuration. It's got a 290cc Kawasaki FE290 motor. It'll only do 25 miles an hour, but it's the cutest damn thing, and I love it to death. It was rescued literally out of a pile of shit. It had been give up on, just like me, stuffed in a pile of shit and give up on until this kid, Mitch Gerlinger at MOA Tuggets and ATF convenience store, they were going to send it to the wrecking yard, and he said, no, I know an old man that's right up his alley. He figured it was going to take me a little bit of time, but I spent $200 on oil and gasoline, a new fuel pump, and a new shifter cable. And I worked on it for 3 days and drove it 3.5 miles down to the shop. And it really surprised everybody because everybody swore that it would never run again. So don't give up on us old farts, because we still got a lot of time and a lot of quality. We might not get around as fast as you young boys or whatever, but we got a lot of life experiences under our neck that we'd like to share before we pass on. Anyway, this is Texas Red at exit 66 I-40 outside of Kingman, Arizona, and we'll keep you in touch.